here we are I'm on the iPad. I'm just going to go into a drawing app. Just something simple. Like if you have GoodNotes, you can use that. I'm just going to use Sketchbook because it's simple. Here, I'm going to make it's going to be a new sketch. Create. Do not save. I want to create some rooms. I'm going to be drawing some rectangles. This is my room number 1. I'm going to come over to here, duplicate that. So I have 2 identical rooms. So I'm just going to duplicate that 3 times. Duplicate. Then I'm going to go and drag one of the rooms over here like this. I could rotate that. There we are, like that. I have one room like that, another room like here. I'll take this, whoops. And I'm gonna go over to this room, grab that room, and move it over here, like here. I'll turn this one sideways as well. Right, so I got some rooms and I got some hallways in between them. Make some doors, and let me go get my pen. I wanna just draw a little doorway. Here, let's make a doorway here. Something like that. My eraser, it's this one. Let's put a doorway on the other rooms. Let's draw a doorway like this. And a doorway like that. Okay. So I'll give each room a couple of doors. Like these are my doorways, these are my hallways. So I'm going to call this one room 1, this room 2, this room 3. I'm going to call this hallway 1. I'll call this hallway 1 up here. This is going to be my hallway 2. And I'm going to make a little hallway here. Let's say from here to here. I'll get my erasers. I'm going to this one as well. I'm going to make hallway 3 down here. Let's make hallway 3. Let's close up the ends here, so the hallways don't lead out into nowhere. I'm just going to make a very simple choose your own adventure game where you have these 3 rooms and you want to go in and find stuff. And I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to go into Safari and I'm going to go to repl.it. Repl.it. Repl start coding. So I'm going to pick start coding. Here I am in REPL and I would like to create something. All right, but I want to see all the templates because we're not creating in Python here. So I'm just going to go to templates and I'm looking for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Press plus. So I want to create a REPL, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And my title, I'm going to give it a title, and this is going to be Adventure Game. Create REPL. Great. Here we have our code being generated. And I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't need that. Here's the code so far, and I have hello world. I want to get rid of that hello world. I'm going to put in a paragraph, P, like that. And I'm going to write, you are in a room. The floor and walls are made. Let's go back and look at our room. We're in room 1. This is the north. That's the south. This is the west. And that's the east. There's a door on the east wall, and there's a door on the south wall. North-facing wall, it was the east-facing wall. Room number 1, which is right in here. Okay, so that's where we're looking. This is the east-facing door right there. A south-facing door right here. East and south. I might describe a few other things. So you're in a room, the floor and walls are made of concrete. There is a door on the north-facing wall, east-facing wall, not north. There's another door on the south-facing wall. You can describe some other things, like there might be a box in the middle of the room, and they can open the box and find out what's inside it. For now, I'm just gonna keep it very simple, just about the rooms. Then I'm gonna say, what do you do? What do you do? We need to make some input to get some user input. Input, type, equals text, because we want them to type their input. Oh, we gotta put text in quotes. So text on change is equal to, and I'm gonna put some JavaScript in. I want to make the name of a JavaScript function. We haven't made the JavaScript function yet, so I'm gonna think of a catchy name right now, like input room 1. Input room 1. So it describes what it does. It handles the input from room 1. Okay, and then open bracket, close bracket, because it is a function, and that's how functions look. I think that's all we need for now. So I'm gonna close that. So I put a slash and a closing triangular bracket. It's really a great than symbol. If we press the run button at the top here, the little green button, you see that we have you're in a room. The floor and walls are made of concrete. There is a door on the east facing wall. There's another door on the south facing wall. What do? I want to put in a separate file, and we already have one. It's called script down here. See, it's called script. Wonderful, and it's empty. Back in the index, if you look here on line 14, there is code that says, hey, we're using a JavaScript called script.js. We have to bring that a little bit higher up because I'm referring to some script that I'm going to put in there. I'm going to go Command X to cut it, and then I'm going to paste it just after my CSS inside the header up here at the top. I'm just going to paste it right there. Inside my script file, what did we say we were going to call it? Input room 1. So I'm going to go down here and copy all of that. Copy back to my script, and then I'm going to paste that in. Command V, input room 1, and before that, I'm going to put the word function to tell it that it's a JavaScript function. And then I'm going to put the open brace bracket and a close brace bracket. Then in here, I'm going to put something that is called a console log. So console log, this is just to tell the programmer that this function is working. I'm going to say the input room 1 function is working. It's alive. I'm going to run that. You see this down here at the bottom right-hand side of the screen? You see something called console? Watch what happens when I write hi inside there and press return. And it says, the input 1 room function is working. It's alive. The function was fired off. If we go back into our HTML for a second, you can see right here, it says our input, type is text, on change, go to input room 1. So that's what happened. It went to input room 1 and ran that function. And that function, all it did is it wrote to the JavaScript output, which is the console window, and wrote, the input room 1 function is working. It's alive. Now we want to read what they wrote in that text box. I'm going to go back to my script. I'm going to write, just above all that, it's a live business. I'm going to write var. What we're doing is defining a variable. I'm going to call this input, or input text, is document dot get element by ID. Notice it tries to fill in the code for us, right? So we want to write get. It was trying to fill in the code. There it is. It's right there. And you can click on that. Whoops, not by class name, but by ID. By ID. Anyways, it was there. I just got the wrong one. So by ID. And our ID was, let's go back to the index. I don't think we did. Nope. We just have input, type is text, on change, and all that stuff. So just after it says text and before the on change, or we can put it after the word input. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put the word ID and equals. And let's call this, I'm going to call it input room 1, the same as our function name here. It doesn't have to be the same, making it the same just for ease of use. So input room 1, like that. I'm going to go back into my JavaScript. Doing is we're getting the input from input room 1, from our input box, our text box, dot value. Just after it's alive, I'm going to add in plus, I'm going to write the word input, this is our input, space, plus the input, or variable input. Then, if we press run that, good, it saves automatically. If I write in here, hi there, and then if I press return, look what happens in the console shell. Whoop, we got an error. I put elements instead of element. There's an S there. Element by ID, let's run that. And here I'm going to write hello, and I'm going to press return. And there it is. Notice here, the last line, it says, it's alive, input, hello. Knows I wrote hello. What we're going to do is take what the person wrote, what the user writes, and we're going to have the computer respond to it. See how I wrote hello? It was capitalized H, but I could have capitalized the H or capitalized the L or capitalized the whole thing. What I want to do is take my input variable and change it so that, here, I'm just going to give myself a little bit of room to work here. So I'm going to change where it says the input, which is whatever the person inputs. I'm going to turn it all to lowercase, just so that we're on a level playing field. Input is equal to input dot to lowercase. Open bracket, close bracket, like that. Here, I'll put the alive stuff after that. Cut, and I'll put that down here. Then let's run that. And then if I write hi there, and then press return, look in the console. It writes hi there, but everything's lowercase. So we got rid of all the capitals. That's because, like, if the person writes open the south door and they've capitalized south, or if they didn't capitalize south, you don't want it to say I don't understand what you're saying, because it couldn't tell the difference between the capitalized south door or the non-capitalized south door. So we take away all the capitals and then everything a little bit more equal. This is what programming is all about, ifs. You're allowing the computer to make a decision. They're saying, is this true or is that true? And then it decides something. If input dot includes the word open, I'm looking for the word open, I'm looking for the word south, and I'm looking for the word door. And if they're in there, presumably the person's saying open the south door, or open door to the south, or any other which way you could word that. And the way we say and in computer languages is the double ampersand, like that. It's found just above the 7, so shift 7, and there it is. So and, we're looking for open, the word south, and the word door. I'm gonna go over to here, press paste, and I'm looking for the word door. So if all of that is there, presumably the person's saying open the south door. This is called a block. A block is when you have an open brace bracket and a closed brace bracket. If the if is true, then everything inside that block gets done. What I want it to do is go to a new web page. I'm gonna put document.location.href. Then I'm going to put in the name of a new, that's not supposed to be in brackets, that's supposed to be just equals like that. And then I put a semicolon there. Let's try that, that should work. And in our drawing it says, we left the south door, we're in hallway 3. Okay, so I need to go to hallway 3. So I'm going to make hallway 3 its own little HTML. Back into our code, back into REPL. I need to make a new hall 3. So I'm going to go to my index. Any opening web page, the first web page is always called index. I'm going to select all, Command A, select all, Command C to copy, and then I want to go plus to make a new file, and I want to call this hall1.html. Click on that as a choice, click inside there, and then paste all that HTML. I have to change a few things around. I'm going to change this where you're in a room and change it to you're in a hallway. Delete, I'm going to hit the microphone. You are in a hallway which runs east and west. The hallway runs east and west. On the eastern end, it turns north. On the northern side, there's the door we just came through. Back into our Safari, east and west. Okay, it turns north, period. On the north wall of the hall is a door. Okay, what do you do? And then our input would be input, not room 1, but input hallway 3 or hall 3. I'm going to call that hall 3. Let's go back to our index and run that. Click on the index, click run.
You're in a room, the floor and walls made of concrete, there's a door on the east-facing wall, there's another door on the south-facing wall. What do you do?
If I go through the south door, if I write open the south door, look what happens. Open the south-facing door. Return, and look at that. It's saying can't find what you're talking about. Because I didn't call it hall 3 over here, I for some reason called it hall 1. It's hall 3. I need to rename that. Rename hall 3. Let's go back into our script. Hall 3, hall 3. I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if it'll let me get away with that. Yay, it did. So I have hall 3 uncapitalized. Back into the script, and it is going to hall 3. That should work. So if we press run, and I type
open the south facing door.
Then return. Look at that. You're in a hallway which runs east and west. On the eastern end of the hall, comma, the hallway turns north. On the north wall of the hall is a door. What do you do? Not a lot of choices. I would turn north, go up the north hall, make the turn. So I would want to type something like make the turn or turn north, go around the corner. I need to handle a few different ways of entering that. If I write turn north and press return, nothing's going to happen because we don't have any code to handle that. Let us go into our script and make some code. We have this whole function for handling room 1. It just handles open the south-facing door. But what if you didn't say open the south-facing doors? I'm going to put something called an else. If this didn't happen, try this. If it includes open and the other door was the east door, that's your other choice. Really later on I would include search around for bags of treasure. You could ask it questions and it should be able to answer some of them. Let's say I put east. East. When we open the east door, what's supposed to happen? Let's go back and look. If I go through the east door, I'm in my hallway number 1. I would want to go down to hallway number 1. I would need to go and make the HTML for my hallway number 1. I'm going to copy all the code that I have, so select all. Copy. I'm going to come down here, paste it, and I'm going to make code. And by the way, these are two different functions now. They're both called input room 1. The second one, I'm going to make it called input hall 3. Input hall 3. I always put these little things in between my functions. Just a slash slash, which is a comment. A comment is something that you can write to yourself within your code that won't cause the program to error on. Okay, so the program, when it sees that double slash, it knows to ignore it. Something that we can read that the computer doesn't. This is, for hallway 3, is taking the input not from room 1, but from hall 3. I have a variable called input. I can call it input inside this function. This is input hall 3. From the hallway, the choices are to open the north-facing door or to turn north. If we open the north-facing door, we go back to room 1. Now, room 1 is the index. The other choice is if we turn the corner, turn, and the word is corner. What else could we say? I've told you about the and. This is another thing called or. Put these two things in one bracket. They said turn the corner or turn corner, or they said or. So or looks like this. It is the two vertical bars. You can find that just above your return key, by the way. You could say turn the corner, or you could say turn north or north end of the hall. I'm going to look for north end. Input includes just a regular little bracket like that. Input includes north end. Turn north, go north. I'm just going to leave those two possibilities, and then if they do that, they're going to go to hallway 1. That brings you to hallway 1. We need to make the input for hallway 1. I'm going to go back to my hallway 3, and I'm going to click on those 3 dots, and I'm going to click duplicate. And so that's going to make a copy of hallway 3, which I'm going to rename hall 1. Hall 1. I'm going to get rid of that H in the beginning. All right, so this is my hallway 1, and it's identical to hallway 3. And then I'm just going to go into the text and describe what the hallway looks like. So this hallway, you know, hallways that runs north and south. On the eastern end of the hall, there is a door. On the eastern wall of the hall, there is a door. On the northern wall of the hall, no, on the western wall of the hall is another door. It also turns on the southern end of the hall. It turns to the west. What do you do? Let's go and double check that. We're talking about hallway number 1, which is this. It also turns about midway down the hallway. It also opens up east. So a lot happens on hallway number 1. There's actually 3 doors that it opens onto it. Also hallway 3. Here's the question. Is this hallway 1 or is it hallway 3? I think we have to call this the intersection of hallway 1 and hallway 3. So we're going to have to mention this door into room 3, and we're going to have to mention this hallway. Midway down the hallway, there is an opening into another hallway. So there was another door. At the southern end of the hall, there is a door on the eastern wall. Have I described everything? Let's go back and have a quick look. At the southern end of the hallway, there's a door on the east wall. That works. And the hallway turns to the east, but there's a hallway midway down. I think we did that and said it opens to the east. Midway down the hallway, there's an opening into another hallway on the east side, on the eastern side. At the southern end of the hallway, there's a door on the western wall. I'm going to keep all my southern ends of the hallways together. I'm just going to move this down to here. What do you do? This is my hallway 1. Hallway 1, it says input hallway 3. Yes?